Sunshine, sand and sea, the pure definition of paradise. Relaxation, adventures and memories to be made. At the turn of the new millennium, a young woman finds herself stranded on a Jamaican island. Making the most of the unexpected trip, she visits the beach and bars, making friends along the way, only to mysteriously vanish. With very few clues and a fairly neglectful investigation, the fate which befell her remains unknown. Tonight on Dark Curiosities, the disappearance of Claudia Kirschhoch. The town of Negril in Jamaica is a place many would call paradise. Famous for its almost endless stretch of sandy beaches and the turquoise water of the Caribbean Sea, Negril also boasts bustling resorts, delicious food, reggae music, and enthusiastic townsfolk who are known for greeting all visitors with a smile. For many tourists, it is an enormously popular destination and remains on many travellers' wish lists. Claudia Ann Kirschhoch was born on the 9th of February 1971 to Fred and Mary Ann Kirschhoch and was raised in Morristown in the state of New Jersey. In the mid-1990s, she spent 7 months living in Paris, calling her family frequently, and she became a very seasoned traveller. In the year 2000, the 29-year-old was working as an assistant editor for Frommer's Travel Guides located in Manhattan, New York City, and in order to be closer to her workplace, she had moved into an apartment in Astoria, situated in the borough of Queens. In May, Claudia was notified by her employers at last minute that she was going to take a trip to Cuba as a guest of Jamaica's Sandals beach resort chain for a press junket. On the morning of the 24th of May, en route to their destination of Havana, Cuba, Claudia and 3 other travel journalists were left stranded at Montego Bay in Jamaica. A disappointed Claudia made a phone call to her supervisor, followed by a call to her parents to inform them that the Sandals chain had cancelled their plans to fly to Cuba due to the unrest in the country, and as it stood, there were currently no return flights to New York available until the 1st of June. Her mother, Marianne, was particularly relieved by this, and when Claudia told her parents that the company would let her stay for a week in Negril, they believed that they had no reason to worry about their daughter. Claudia Kirschhoch and freelance writer Tanya Grossinger were rerouted to Sandals Resort in Negril on the 25th of May. During their stay, the pair dined together and talked over drinks in the evening. They appeared to be having an enjoyable experience, despite their trip having not gone as originally planned. According to Tanya, whilst drinking that night, Claudia became friendly with a bartender at the resort, a man named Anthony Grant. The next day, Claudia revealed to Tanya that she and Anthony spent the night taking marijuana and went skinny dipping together. On the 27th of May, Tanya Grossinger was able to book a return flight to New York, departing later that day. She called Claudia at 8 a.m. and they had breakfast. Claudia told Tanya of her plans to stay in Negril for 2 more days, then go to Montego Bay and Kingston to search for rare reggae albums. The duo shared an embrace and promised that they would meet up again whenever Claudia returned to New York. Later that afternoon, once Grossinger had departed, a lifeguard by the beach witnessed Claudia walking along the sands wearing a multicoloured bikini and t-shirt. Later investigations would suggest that she had a Walkman, a notepad, her sunglasses and the key to her room at the resort in her possession whilst on the beach. This would be the last sighting of Claudia Kirschhoch. Fred and Marianne Kirschhoch became anxious when they failed to hear from their daughter by the 2nd of June. Concerned by the fact Claudia was supposed to have returned home the previous day, yet had not, they called the resort. Security staff at the hotel managed to enter her room and found that Claudia's belongings were still there. Minus her bathing suit, her clothes were neatly packed in her luggage. Her plane tickets, passport, mobile phone, camera, $180 in cash, and credit cards were secured in a safety deposit box. Claudia Kirschhoch, however, was nowhere to be seen. In the days and weeks following, authorities began investigating her disappearance further. The Negril Police Department were criticised by many about how ill-equipped they were to take on such a case, and with developments in the initial search, this would, to an extent, prove that point. The 29-year-old's belongings were taken from Claudia's room to the manager's office, and the space was actually made available for other guests to use. Without an extensive search of the room to collect potential evidence, the negligence of the resort staff meant that the scene would more than likely have been contaminated. Kirschhoch's mobile phone then mysteriously vanished, as did a logbook which recorded the license plates of all vehicles entering and exiting the complex. Other anomalies included the fact that the security camera footage situated near her room was inadvertently recorded over, and when staff developed the film on Claudia's camera, they reported that there was nothing on it. Jamaican police searched the land and sea, yet there was no trace of Claudia. Some believed her to have accidentally drowned. However, this contrasts to what authorities believe, which is that the tide wasn't particularly high and the currents weren't strong enough on that day. Others said she disappeared of her own accord to live with a Jamaican lover, but her family, those who knew her best, strongly opposed this theory. Posters were placed all over the island, offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to her whereabouts, and police received over 400 tips, yet they were all fruitless. The eyes of suspicion soon fell upon Green Island native Anthony Grant, the popular bartender at the resort who had been with Claudia. It was discovered that on the 28th of May, the day after Claudia was last seen, he had called in sick and stayed out of work for a total of 4 consecutive days. The FBI investigated further and brought in a search dog who tracked Claudia's scent to Anthony's home. The dog traced her scent on a pair of Grant's boots, gloves, and a knife. A separate search was conducted and a single strand of Claudia's hair was found in the back seat of his car, and the dog also found her scent in the back seat and the trunk of Anthony Grant's white Toyota Corolla, as well as in nearby woodland. The seat covers in the car had also been replaced recently. Forensic analysis was carried out and it was found that there was blood on the knife found at his residence. However, the DNA tests were inconclusive. He participated in a polygraph test, yet the results for this were also inconclusive. When he was brought in for questioning, he initially denied ever knowing Claudia, yet he eventually admitted that he lied and that he had gone on a date with her, although it was against staff policy to interact this way with a guest, which is why he didn't tell the truth in the beginning. Claudia's family suspect that Anthony knows something about Claudia's disappearance. He had access to the CCTV, the logbook, most likely Claudia's room, and despite the evidence uncovered by authorities and search dog, police do not consider Anthony Grant a suspect. The media were criticised by the Kirschhoch family as the Jamaican tabloids called her an adventure seeker who was more than likely responsible for her own disappearance. Jamaican police halted their investigation and never pursued the case further, despite the fact that Anthony Grant and Tanya Grossinger's statements contradicted each other. The family said that Jamaican authorities were uncooperative in sharing the investigative file of the case with them. On the topic of Claudia possibly still being alive, her father Fred is quoted as saying, "We have to believe it. We have no other choice but to feel she's alive." Claudia Kirschhoch was declared legally dead in 2002, despite no trace of her ever being found. The judge ruled that it was highly unlikely that she vanished of her own volition, and her family have had to live with the agony of not knowing what happened to their daughter. Since her disappearance, several sightings have been reported to the police, however, they were never confirmed. There are many theories about what could have happened to Claudia. Was she kidnapped? Did she drown? Was she murdered? Could she still be alive? Sadly, we may never know the truth, but we can always hope that her family will one day get answers. As of October 2018, her mysterious and unexplained disappearance remains unsolved.